Welcome back to World Affairs in Context, everyone. There is renewed interest in gold this week. Gold prices have surged more than 40% over the past 12 months and nearly 10% year to date. Gold is outperforming major American stock indices as of now. And also there's quite a bit of suspicion surrounding America's gold reserves held at Fort Knox these days. Donald Trump has announced plans to verify the gold reserves at Fort Knox, a facility that has not been audited since, believe it or not, 1974. In recent weeks, concerns about whether gold reserves actually exist at Fort Knox have been mounting, and there are very many skeptics, and rightfully so. It's been 50 years since the last time that the American public received a positive confirmation of its existence. Elon Musk has even suggested live streaming such an audit, which could, in theory, help bring some transparency to this issue. Senator Rand Paul is now calling for an audit on Fort Knox as well. There should be close to $400 billion worth of gold at Fort Knox, and that number is estimated using the latest market value of $2,940 per troy ounce. According to U.S. Mint, the U.S. Bullion Depository at Fort Knox, Kentucky, holds 147 million troy ounces of gold, or about 59% of the Treasury's total supply. By the way, let us know in the comments if you support the initiative to audit Fort Knox, and if you don't, let us know why. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has reassured the public that the gold is regularly audited. It's quite interesting because Donald Trump and Elon Musk appear to be quite suspicious of it, and Bessent kind of jumped in. He said, "Don't worry, I think it's there." Well, he also said that there is a recent report, which apparently was made available to him, but nobody else, confirming that all gold is accounted for. The last similar inspection occurred in 2017 when Treasury Secretary at the time, Steven Mnuchin, visited the site and then reported that the gold was present. But there has been no evidence produced supporting the claim, so it is not unreasonable for so many people to be skeptical and to demand an audit. Here's Donald Trump during a conversation aboard Air Force One saying that he supports going to Fort Knox to make sure that the gold is there. Take a look.
We're going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there.
Are they going to?
You know that we're going to go into Fort Knox. Do you know about that?
Sir,
That was a bad bump.
are they going to eliminate more national security positions, civilians there?
We'll see what happens. But one of the things we do want to look, I mean, we hope everything's fine with Fort Knox, but we're going to go to Fort Knox, the fabled Fort Knox, to make sure the gold is there.
Where would the gold have gone?
If the gold isn't there, we're going to be very upset.
Fort Knox, which holds about half of the Treasury's gold reserves, remains closed to the public. It's been closed to the public. Those of you outside of the United States may not be familiar with what Fort Knox is. Fort Knox is a highly secure U.S. Army base that is located in Kentucky. It is famous for housing the United States Bullion Depository. You can see the building on your screens right now, and this is where a significant portion of the country's gold reserves is stored. Presumably, as I mentioned earlier, $400 billion worth of gold is located here. Over the years, Fort Knox has become synonymous with a high level of security here in the United States, and this is because the public isn't allowed to access it. Nobody has seen that gold, and the vault itself is incredibly secure with advanced security measures, armed guards, surveillance, and strict access protocols. So there's a lot of mystery that surrounds this place. Fort Knox has been around since 1936, when the building construction was completed. It received its very first shipment of gold the following year in 1937, and it hasn't been open to the public. Only in 1974, vaults were opened to journalists for the first time ever. It hasn't happened since. Then in 2017, the second time the vaults opened for then Treasury Secretary Mnuchin's visit. I believe Mitch McConnell accompanied him as well. So why is it in Kentucky, you may ask? Well, its Kentucky location was due to concerns that the existing reserves along the East Coast were more susceptible to foreign attacks at the time. And if you really think about the time when this was built, it was built after the First World War and right before the Second World War unfolded in Europe. So from 1941 to 1944, the facility even held the Constitution of the United States and the Declaration of Independence. So fun fact. So I would say that it is well overdue for an audit, for a good audit, and I think there's no harm in that. How does this conversation about auditing Fort Knox even begin? So over the weekend on Saturday, Musk shared several social media posts questioning the state of the government's infamous gold reserves at Fort Knox, asking if the gold is, quote, still there or, quote, gone, and calling for a live video walkthrough of the facility. Senator Rand Paul posted a reply to Musk. He said, well, let's do it then. And that conversation sort of took off from there. Later on, Donald Trump on board Air Force One, you saw the video, he said, we hope everything is fine with Fort Knox, but we are going to Fort Knox to make sure that the gold is there, said Trump. And he also added that if the gold isn't there, then we're going to be very upset. I'm sure all of us would be as well. Well, as I mentioned earlier, the market value of the gold that is held, presumably at Fort Knox, is roughly $400 billion worth. That is using the latest spot price of $2,940 per troy ounce. However, the government actually values the gold at Fort Knox only at $6 billion because it is using a spot price of only $42.22 per troy ounce based on historic book value. So there's nothing odd here. It is not unusual. It's just accounting, and it appreciated over time. The book value is what it should be valued at until it is sold or until it changes hands in some shape or form. So let me know what you think about this latest initiative. I know the Department of Government Efficiency just introduced an idea to issue $5,000 checks, a dividend check as they refer to it, and I uploaded a video about that as well. So there's quite a bit of news that is released every single day. There's a lot to keep up with. Let me know what you think about the latest Fort Knox audit initiative and whether you support it or not. Thanks for watching. I truly appreciate your time. Remember to show your support, like, subscribe, and share, and make sure that you subscribe to World Affairs in context.com and follow me on social platforms linked in the description below. I'll see you in my next one. Take care.